Hey guys, Chris here. Tonight I'm in my house. We've had a big snowstorm come through the area, the Sierras here. A lot of snow up there. It's been raining and windy down in the valley, but I still have a story for you tonight. A man goes camping in Wisconsin with his small dog, and his worst fear is revealed to him while camping. That's next. Okay, we got my cozy little setup here, and tonight we're having a beer. It is the Blue Moon Haze Hazy Juicy Pale Ale. That should be kind of tasty. Hope it doesn't. There we go. A little bit of suds coming out of the top there, not a lot. Usually when it's coming out of the backpack, it gets shaken up somewhat, so let's see if we can do this without making a mess in my house here. Oh yeah, there it is. Got the old camp cup as well, so. Yeah, much needed system coming through the area here. Dropped a lot of snow up in the mountains, all up and down the Sierra Nevada here, which is really great news. I got my snowshoes ready to go, so I can go snowshoeing maybe sometime this month and probably get a campfire going or get the camper or stuff like that. But for tonight, we're in the house. So this story takes place in Wisconsin in 2014. A young man named Kellen, who graduated from the University of Wisconsin in Madison. He loved Madison, Wisconsin, had been living there, and he wanted to go camping. It was something he did every year, midsummer, take his little dog, Nala, little bulldog, cute little dog, and he normally would go to Devil's Lake Campground. That's where he would always go. And this time he decided to look for something else, and he found a place called Sandhill Station Campground. Nice little campground, nothing really dramatic, a few ponds around there, some forest, some tall grass, wetlands kind of country. He loaded up his dog, they drove out to the Sandhill Station Campground, found his campsite, and he went to open the door to let his dog out, and normally Nala, the little bulldog, would just launch out of the vehicle and take off and start exploring. And she sat there almost like she was waiting for permission from Kellen to get out of the vehicle. Like, is the coast clear? Is everything okay to get out? And he thought that was a little odd. And then he coaxed her out. She got out, took off, and she was eased up a bit and started exploring the area. He went ahead and set up the tent, inflated the air mattress, got the cook gear ready. He finished setting up the tent. He decided to get the Frisbee and go throw it with Nala in this open grassy area. And while he's throwing the Frisbee, Nala just took off, just bolted to the edge of this grass where it turned into tall grass, and there was a forest behind it. And something had caught her attention. She was just zero focused into the woods there. He didn't think much of it. It was a nice summer day in Wisconsin, and so he didn't have any idea that there was something really wrong. So he walked over there and he's like, Nala, Nala. She wasn't responding. She was just zero focused on the forest. He knelt down beside her and he could feel her whole body quivering, just shaking. And she was acting like she wanted to protect him, and at the same time was afraid that if she flexed her muscles too much, whatever was in the forest might harm her. He just got this sense about it. He didn't hear anything, he didn't see anything, and then he just had this feeling, this strange, utter feeling of dread. He reached down, he got a hold of Nala by the collar and just gently was going to turn her around and head back to camp because he just didn't like what was going on over there. And just then, inside of the forest, it sounded like a rhinoceros crashing through the forest. Branches were breaking, grass was rustling, and the ground was shaking. And he just stopped. He was just frozen in his tracks, and his heart was pounding. He was just hanging on to Nala, and he just wanted to make sure that she didn't take off into the forest. Whatever was going on in the forest, he was just really freaked out by this. He had this thought that maybe when he turned his back, whatever this thing was decided to attack him. And then he realized that the sound was fading away and whatever it was going in the opposite direction. Kellen was really spooked by this, but he was also really curious about what was that in the forest that he just heard. Had it not been that it was midday and it was summer and it was a nice day, he would have been really pretty freaked out. He probably would have spent the night in the car or just left altogether. Decided to head back to camp, and they went for a walk around the campground. Found another couple, an older couple, and he asked them, he said, have you guys heard about any bears in the area? Any activities, anything like that? And they said no, they hadn't heard of anything. They didn't see anything. He also noticed they did not have a dog. Went back to camp, and he started to feel everything's kind of normal here. There was something in the forest. He couldn't really figure that out. Nighttime came, had a campfire, cooked some dinner. They're hanging around the camp, just relaxing. Everything was normal, but he noticed that Nala was sitting there next to the campfire, and every minute or so she would perk her head up and her ears would go forward and she would stare intently towards the forest where they heard the sound earlier in the day. And then she would put her head back down and then kind of relax, and then she would perk back up again and look around and then focus on the forest. And she did that all night while they were around the campfire. He went in the tent for the night, had his air mattress, had a little dog bed next to him where Nala was, and he fell asleep fairly easily, fairly quickly. A couple hours later, he noticed this uncomfortable sensation at his side, and Nala was like burrowing into his side, and again she was quivering, shaking. And he thought, what is going on here? Are you okay? And he was just talking to her and trying to calm her down. And then he heard outside of the tent this strange dialect chatter that was like 10 feet away from the tent. And at first it sounded like, his first thought was, it sounded like two Eastern European people standing outside, maybe like discussing his car or his camping equipment or his tent or something. It was like his first thought. But he noticed it was really odd that the sound would be over by the fire pit and then it would be over behind the tent. And he couldn't hear any footsteps, but the sound would just like freely float around the camp. Really strange. And he kept hearing this strange dialect, chatter almost. And as he was trying to figure it out, he was getting a little frustrated about who or what is this outside. And so he decided to say something. And he said, "Who's out there?" And he didn't scream it, he didn't yell it, he just said it loud enough for whoever or whatever was out there could have heard him. But then it was dead silent. It's like nothing. And that spooked him even more because he was hoping to hear whoever or whatever this was walk away, or some kind of a response, or just some kind of a sound to kind of figure out what is going on, but it was just dead silent. And so he went to the tent door and unzipped the window, dropped the window down, and he's looking outside on his camp. And you can clearly see the picnic table. It's kind of a silhouette, it's dark, but there was enough light, moonlight, to see. You could see his car, he could see the grill, and everything looked normal. And then Nala leaped off the air mattress that she was sitting on and started viciously barking again, like he had never seen before, kind of like earlier in the day where she was barking at the forest. Just out of character for this dog. It's a very chill dog normally. Nala was a very chill dog. And she was just viciously barking. Again, he got her by the collar, was just holding on to her and trying to calm her down. And he reached up, and he, on his carabiner, he had a flashlight. He removed it, unzipped the door so he could see clearly, and he started shining around his camp. Nala's still viciously barking. And he saw this large shape at the edge of the grass just outside the camp, and he could see what looked like whatever it was walking on all fours. And it wasn't a bear with shorter legs, but it was like these creepy crawling animal and slowly walking along the edge of the grass. And he got the sense that whatever this thing was more man than animal. Really creepy. And he was thinking, this could be a person just out there crawling like this, because it had hair on its body instead of fur. This tangled hair all over its body, really large size. And he got the impression it felt almost Neanderthal or caveman-like. Really strange. And he had this thought, it's maybe Bigfoot, but it looked nothing like Bigfoot. And he had seen the footage from 1967, the Patterson-Gimlin footage from Northern California. It looked nothing like that. He could see the face just for a few moments, but he could see this face, and it was this wide face. Kind of the features were very wide. Wide, flat nose, kind of a wide mouth. And then it let out this kind of a low hiss sound directed at him, or at least at the dog. And he thought, that is really creepy. And he was totally spooked by this. Pulls the flashlight back in, zips the tent back down. He's still looking out the window, and he can see this shape slowly work its way into the grass and disappear. Really a surreal, spooky feeling after this thing apparently left. It was really quiet again. Nala was still shaking. She'd stopped barking. He was trying to figure out what was going on. Next couple hours, he just sat there, listened carefully, finally decided to go to sleep, woke up the next day, and they broke down camp, went home, and he'd always wondered, what in the world was that out there in the woods in Wisconsin? And he also thought about whatever this thing was that was kind of walking around the camp, and it was this vocalization, this chatter, and Kellen wondered why this thing didn't kind of pick that chatter back up and try to maybe communicate with him, if that's what it was really doing. It was just a very surreal experience for him in Wisconsin in 2014. All right, that is my story for tonight. I appreciate you guys watching my stuff and having fun as always. This is kind of fun being in my little cabin, so to speak. Really good snowstorm. This is what I've been talking about for a few months now, is there's going to be a big snowstorm coming. I'm not going to be driving in this stuff. I'm not going to go. If you've ever been on these mountain roads, oh my gosh, in the summer, it's crazy because you're seeing these sheer drop-offs when you're going through the mountains. You go up like Abbott's Pass, Carson Pass, and there's guardrails on a lot of it. Sometimes there's not. And I'm always thinking, wow, if you're in an ice storm or a snowstorm and it's at night and you start sliding, oh my God. I'm like, forget it. Count me out. But I will be getting back out there for sure. And I can go out to the desert, which is really cool. I've been wanting to go out to the Black Rock Desert where they have the Burning Man. I was going to say Blue Man. Blue Man group. Burning Man group. 65, 70,000 people go out there for that week and a half or whatever in August, and then the rest of the year, this is just a desolate place. It's pretty interesting. I've been out there, and you can drive miles on this lake bed, and you're just as desolate as you could be. I thought that'd be cool to bring the camper out there. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys as always. I love all your comments. A lot of great comments. And we will see you on the next one. And as always, keep hiking.